Well, hi Blade fans. Knock knock. Who's there? Knock. That's who's there. NOC Knives. Oh well. My try at comedy for this one. This is a brand newly in NOC knife. It is the DG-23, and look what you get for $69. You're getting a cool little Pelican style case. When do you ever get that except when you're paying hundreds of dollars for a knife and it's got the gasket and everything? Anyway, that's what you get in the case. There is the very cool looking front flipping knife. I'm going to back out a little bit. And one thing you notice is what NOC does with many of their knives is this trademark kind of cylindrical surround for the pivot. It's a huge pivot, and they echo it on the pommel end as well, and they attach the pocket clip to it. Now that pocket clip is steel. The frame for $69 is steel, and the very cool Tanto blade in a very nice satin finish is 440C. Now before you come down too hard on 440C, there was a time when that was the premium knife steel, because amongst the 400 series stainless, it was up there in class and quality. Today it's a budget steel. But did the steel change because our tastes did, because better steels came out? No, it's still the same 440C. And depending upon the hardness, and I'm not sure the hardness of this one, it can actually be very good and quite stain resistant, much more so than many of the other steels that we know and we love. So I'm going to get past that point. I think for this one, I'm going to ignore the steel, knowing that it may not be as good as some, but is certainly not bad. And they did a bang-up job on the sharpening here. You don't need to read my notes. I was going to say they did. It's 440. Is it getting dull already? Oh no! It comes through with a pretty good edge. It's not biting sharp, but it is shaving sharp. And many shaving sharp knives will pop hairs off your arms, but do not bite into things. So you may want to strop it up. Whatever. It isn't by no means a bad edge. We have a flat grind. We've got what I would have to take as the NOC logo, and two-tone handles. Now these come in a bright blue and the black, and a bright orange and the black. And I'll give you the links. This came from White Mountain, I think I was saying. $69, but if you use my discount code OLDSWORD, you'll knock 10% off of that. So about $7 will come off of that, and you'll end up paying about $63, free shipping and no tax. Pretty good deal, I'd say. And we're going to measure it up. It is not a small knife. Not huge, but not small. 8 1/4 inches. And about a 3.5 inch blade. Cutting edge, 3.5 inches. Blade stock in millimeters, 3.8. In inches, 0.15. Handle thickness, not going to be too skinny, 0.67. And a weight, close her up, weight of 6.26 ounces. Not a lightweight. It's a very hefty knife. You can feel the weight. Front flipper only. No fuller or opening hole on this one. I'm going to show you another NOC knife in a minute that does. But I like the way this wedge is ground. It's a really nice grind and profile with this Americanized Tanto. A very slender one. Very pointy. And we're going to check inside. I'm not seeing any real evident weight relieving. Nope. Yeah, there's some slots. Okay, I do see some long, skinny slots up at the top. Can we see them better from this side? Yep, there they are. Are they on both sides? Yep. So there's a little bit of weight relieving. Now, steel liners, steel frame, and very kind of polished over, smooth. It's a nicely finished knife, and it would appear to run on bearings. Yeah, I think I see him in there. Let's grab the light again. Little pocket flashlights always come in handy. One day I'm going to do another flashlight review, and I know people will be saying, why didn't you do any beam shots? You got to do beam shots if you do flashlights. I'll leave that to some other people. I just carry them and use them. He has a brass kind of looking thing in there. Yeah, I can see him. Yep. Looks like double-sided bearings. Don't know if I'd venture to take this guy apart, although I don't think it would be a bad thing. It certainly appears to be a T8 on both sides. You might need two T8 screwdrivers to loosen that up. Never taken apart a NOC knife, but they certainly let you know that that's what it is. It's kind of interesting in that where the two colors of G10 meet, the white and the black in this case, is kind of a gap, an intentional one, because there's a little bit of a chamfer on each piece. That makes it a little more economical to build it, because they don't need to mesh those two parts together and make sure they're exactly fitted. So you can have a little bit of a gap, and it's not a bad thing. I mean, it could over time, if you're using this every day, fill up with a little dirt and gunk. But these milled out parts might as well. Did they mill it out over here? No, they didn't. That was smart, because you got your clip there. And if the clip was riding over these guys, it might drag just a bit in your pants. Now, I'm only seeing that single screw, and I'm going to guess that you can swap this thing over to this side from the looks of it. Okay? Don't quote me on that, but I think it's quite possible that you can. It's an unusual look for a knife. There's no jimping here, but you got a lot of leverage. So even if you wanted to slow roll it, you could easily do that because it sticks out so far. And the NOC knives are known for that. And here is the DG04. It's right on the blade. That is a much bigger, well, significantly bigger version of the same kind of knife. Drop point with an interesting grind, a little bit of a clip at the point there, kind of like what they did on the Pentagon, the SOG Pentagon, with giving you that little piece of little clip, but on the Pentagon it's sharpened and on this one it isn't. Now, as I said, this is the DG04. This one has carbon fiber through and through. I do not think it's a laminate, but you know, when they polish the carbon fiber on the top, a lot of people walk away thinking that they got kind of cheated and it's a laminate. I'm pretty sure this is not a laminate, because I'm seeing a thread pattern here that looks more like carbon fiber than like G10. But again, that's a guess. Difference here, as I was saying, is that you've got both that long front flipper tab, but, oops, I hit something. But you've got that big old opening hole, so you've got some choices here. You can flick it out with your thumb. You can middle finger flick it, or you can front flip it. And again, no jimping there either. So when you open these knives up, there's no jimping. But it's a pretty good thick blade stock and pretty thick handles. Same thing here. You've got, this handle actually feels maybe a little narrower than this guy. We can check that out. So I said this one was, I think I said 0.67, but it's 0.68 now. This one's just a bit thinner. Yeah, at 0.57. So a whole tenth of an inch, if I'm right, thinner. So it's a little chunkier, but you know, you get a good grip on it. I mean, that's always the saving grace of these wide-handled knives, provided the handle isn't round like an open L. You know, open L's are nice, but if you grab it blindly, you can't tell where the edge is by holding the handle. Not that you couldn't have this upside down by mistake as well. Unless you feel for the clip. You know, if you're used to having the clip go into your hand if you're carrying it right-handed, or thumb side if you're carrying it in the left hand, then you sort of know where the edge is. But again, the finish job on this for the money and the interesting mechanics to it, if you want to call it that, are very interesting. We've got a lockup of 25%, I would say, 25 to 30%. And blade to handle ratio, not bad. You know, they probably could have gotten it a little further out, but then you do start, if I really stick my finger in there, I start picking up the point, so I don't think I'd want it any further out. And it is quite well centered, dead center, I'd say. So you can pick these up on White Mountain. There's also some very high-end versions of NOC knives that you can pick up for $300 or more, $350. Let's do a quick comparison with the Rat 1 right away. See what we got. Rat 1 is a tiny bit longer, and the blade just a very fraction longer. Griptilian, a little smaller, by ½ inch maybe. And the blade length difference, not too much, pretty close. So I say 3½ inch blade to that big old pivot and to the edge. You got a nice sharpening choil there. There you have it. Budgety sort of knife. I hate to say budget because, you know, if I say budget's under 100, I get contested. If I say it's, you know, under 75, somebody will say, well, it really should be 40. Someone said it really should be 20, whatever. But on the budget side, particularly with a discount, brings you down to $63. I mean, that's more budget than picking up a Chavez or something like that for over 300. So I'm calling it a budget knife. You call it what you'd like. And don't forget to give this video a like if you like it, and subscribe if you haven't already. Be well, take care, have a good day.